College Algebra, topic 3.6. We're going to graph this by breaking this down into the basic function and then graphing this in transformations. We're going to consider the basic function to be, let's say, f of x. And the transformation function will have the parameters a. A will stand for anything multiplying on the outside of the function. B will stand for any number multiplying with the x. C will stand for any number adding on the inside of the function, and D will stand for anything adding on the outside. And our rules are, if the parameter A, a number on the outside, is negative, then what we'll get is that we'll get a reflection about the y-axis. Okay. If B, the number that's on the x, if that parameter is negative, we'll get a reflection about the x-axis. If the c parameter is negative, then what we'll have is a shift to the right. And if the d number, which is the number on the outside, is negative, we'll have a shift downward on the graph. Alright, so let's strip all the parameters off and get it down to the basic function first. So we have f of x equals the square root of x. That's taking out the 4, the negative 1, and the 3. Then we'll start putting the parameters back on. Now we put the parameters back on in this order. We start with the parameter c, then we put back on the b, then the a, and then finally the d. So cba and then d. So c is any number that's added, which is at positive 4 right there. So next we're going to do the positive 4 next to the positive x. Thirdly, we're going to put the, after we put the c parameter, the b parameter. The b parameter stands for numbers that are multiplied with the x. Well, the number that's multiplied with the x is right here, is negative 1, negative 1 times x. So for the next step, we'll put the negative 1 next to x, and that'll be our b parameter. The a parameter stands for anything multiplying on the outside of the function. Well, there's nothing on the outside of this guy, so we'll say the a parameter is 1, so there's no change. So then we look for the d parameter. The d parameter is anything on the outside, and that will be a positive 3. So that'll be f of x equals the square root of 4 minus x, and then plus 3. If I can bring that up so you can see it. Okay. All right, so now let's work our way down. So this function right here is our basic square root function. Square root function starts at the origin, 0, 0, and looks like this. All the basic functions need to be memorized. Okay, all the basic functions need to be memorized. All right, next, the 4 here, that's a c parameter, and because the 4 is positive, it says that negative c parameters move you to the right. So a positive c parameter would move us rather to the left. So this graph now gets moved 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left, and then looks the same. So this is negative 4, comma 0 now. Next, the x receives a negative 1. So this is a positive x, now it's a negative x, which means that's a negative 1 there. Well, that's a b parameter. And b parameters, when they're negative, they give you a rotation around the x-axis. So we're going to rotate this guy around the x-axis. And so now 1, 2, 3, 4, it'll look like this. It just kind of flips over. And that's still negative 4 and 0. Alright, now finally, the plus 3 out here, that's a d parameter. That's a number on the outside. And when the d parameter is negative, it goes down, but this is positive, so this is going to go up. So we're going to take our graph, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 over, and we're going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3. And this is where we put our point, right here at negative 4, comma 3. And the graph still goes beneath like this. Alright, so this is the final graph. Now we can use this to find a domain, all the possible inputs, and we see that the furthest this graph goes to the left on the x-axis is no more than negative 4. So that's a negative 4. How far does it go to the right? Well, it keeps drifting off to the right forever, so that's positive infinity. So that means that the domain is negative 4, infinity. That means we can only put numbers like negative 4, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, etc. in for input. But we can't put numbers like negative 5, negative 6, negative 7. because they don't fall within the domain, so they can't be used as input. Now the range, the answers that the graph can produce. We find the range by seeing how low the graph can go and how high. Well, how low this graph goes, it keeps going down, down, down along the y-axis, so that's negative infinity. But the highest that this graph will go is right here at this level, which is 3. So 3. So what this means is that this graph will not produce an answer that's greater than 3. It will not produce a 4, 5, 6, or 7. But it can produce a 3, 2, 1, 0, -1, -2, and etc. So our final graph and the domain and the range.